If you're watching this, you're probably thinking or starting to get adult braces and you're wondering what to expect. Today, I'm going to be sharing 5 essential tips to help you survive those first few weeks and make your first month as painless and as smooth as possible. Before we start, I just want to say welcome to the Be So Good channel, where we're all about elevating ourselves to be our best, both inside and out. It's so good to have you here. Let's get into it. Tip number 1, and probably the least technical and more unconventional tip, is going to be to get your mind right first. You want to stay positive and you want to stay patient. Let me tell you, I understand getting adult braces is not for the faint of heart. It is super hard to think about getting braces later in life. Obviously, it's something that's very normalized in your teenage years where everybody else is getting them, but as you start trickling out of those teenage years into your 20s, 30s, 40s, even 50s, some people even 60s, getting braces eventually becomes a lot tougher to even think about. Seeing them on yourself, what are other people going to think? Is everybody going to be judging you because you're an adult and you have braces? I'm 27, and I know that when I first found out that I had to get braces at this age, it took me a long time to come to terms with that because I don't have any friends that have braces. I actually had braces when I was 14 going on 15. I even did Invisalign a couple years back. And here I am for the 3rd time having to get braces as an adult. But I knew that going into this, I was gonna have to get my mind right, just like you're gonna have to get your mind right, and really just focus on the actual outcome and how it is going to benefit you going forward. If you're having to get them for something like correcting your bite, or maybe even just cosmetically because you don't like the way that your smile looks, or maybe even have to get certain dental implants to where you have to correct your teeth before you do that, just focus on the fact that you getting braces on is for your oral health in the long term, and you're going to be so grateful that you did it. The time is going to go by anyways, so you might as well focus on the positive and just know that this is temporary. You're so fortunate that you have the ability to get them, that you live in a place where that's an option, that you can, financially afford them. I've been sharing a little bit about my braces journey on my TikTok, and I've had so many people, it's beautiful, that have told me, I couldn't afford them when I was younger and my parents couldn't pay for them, but I can pay for them for myself now. And that's something that everyone should be so proud of being able to achieve. So before you even go into your first appointment of getting these installed onto your teeth, just really try to get your mindset in the right place so that you don't suffer for however long you're going to have your braces on. I have to have mine on for 2 years and 2 months. When they told me that, I was like, no way. But as most likely your orthodontist has explained to you, when you're an adult, teeth need to be moved a little slower because you really want to preserve the roots and just your teeth health overall. So they can't be moving things as rapidly as when you're young. So treatment plans tend to be a little bit longer, which is so annoying, but that's just what it is. You want your teeth to be healthy. You don't want to have problems in the long term. So however long your treatment ends up having to be, the better headspace that you're in, the less that you're going to suffer through that whole amount of time. So definitely get your mind right first. And also just remember that you're not alone. I'm here making this video with braces on. I'm super shocked at how many people have been writing on my TikTok that they are having braces on at the age of 30, 40, 50. So even though you might feel alone right now in having to endure this, you are not, I promise you, and nobody notices or cares as much as you do. So just find some comfort in that. Tip number 2 is going to be prepared for major discomfort. Getting your braces on, whether this is your first time as an adult, maybe you're even a teenager watching this, I don't know. You're going to be in for not a treat. It is not a pleasant experience if this isn't your first time getting braces. Like, it wasn't my first time getting braces. I had them when I was 14. But obviously a lot of years have passed since then, so I couldn't really remember the amount of pain that it actually felt like. So this is me telling you it is going to be painful, but there are a couple things that you can do to try to alleviate that pain. This is something that my orthodontist recommended that I do, and yours probably might tell you this as well, but definitely take some type of ibuprofen, Tylenol, or Advil before your appointment. I tend to lean towards Tylenol because I've read some studies and research that Advil can actually slow down the movement of your teeth. So whether you prefer Tylenol or Advil, take some type of anti-inflammatory 24 hours before your treatment up until your treatment time. So that way, when you are getting these on and the subsequent hours and days leading to the pain, you've kind of prepped your body so that they're not as painful. I will say that this definitely helped a lot. Once you get them on, you may not feel immediate extreme pain in the first couple of hours, but this is your warning that it gets progressively worse. Nothing to be scared about, but just know that it does get worse within the first few hours. The second and third day for me were the absolute worst. As you can see in this video, because I wore them for this video, I actually did get elastics on my first day of having braces, which I've come to find out that is not that common. People tend to get them in the last few months of treatment. But I got my braces on and the elastics on the first day of getting my braces on. So I can tell you that my pain was probably like a 9 or a 10. I don't think I ate any solid food for like almost the first week. So that's gonna be going into one of my other tips, but basically be prepared for pain. Don't be scared. It's really not that terrible. Like, it is all just focused in this area. So again, the next tip that I'm going to share is going to help a little bit with that, but definitely don't book like a nice restaurant reservation the day of getting your braces on or anything like that. And make sure that you stock up on your Advil or your Tylenol, or you can switch between the two. And taking those anti-inflammatories is definitely going to help subside the pain a little bit. Tip number 3 is going to be to stock up on soft foods. This is going back to point number 2 about being in extreme pain. The first couple of days when you get your braces on, you're gonna be in a lot of pain. Chewing just about anything is gonna be very painful. So you wanna make sure that before you went to your appointment, or maybe like right after your appointment, you go to the grocery store, you stock up on a lot of liquids, a lot of soft foods, a lot of things that maybe you can steam, like a lot of steamed vegetables, purees, soups, maybe protein shakes if you're into that, ingredients for smoothies. Anything that equates to it being soft and that you don't have to chew on is going to be your best friend for the foreseeable few days to the first week. The moment that I knew I was going to get braces and elastics, I knew that solid foods was off of the table for me, especially because I personally know that my mouth is extremely sensitive. My gums are very sensitive. I knew I was going to be in a lot of pain, so I stocked up on every single liquid, steamable food because I didn't want to be hungry, but I didn't want to be in pain when chewing on things. So stocking up on soft foods is going to be your best friend. So when you're resting and you're not eating, you're not in pain. And then when you have to eat, you're not in additional pain either. Because if you don't prepare and you only have solid or crunchy foods, you're probably just not going to eat at all because it's going to be that painful, or you're just going to have to swallow your food, which is obviously not great for your digestion. So definitely just be prepared and stock up on very soft foods. Tip number 4 is going to be to establish your oral hygiene routine at home, as well as create your little on-the-go pack to take with you everywhere. So obviously now as an adult having braces on, you really want to keep your oral health in check and healthy, because you run risk of gum disease and other things that maybe when you were younger you weren't really that worried about. So as an adult, you really want to be precautious to avoid any future problem that having the braces could bring if you're not upkeeping cleaning your teeth correctly. Starting with brushing your teeth, one of the things that I have found the most helpful is my Oral-B IO7 electric toothbrush. This is wonderful for brushing every single individual tooth in and around the bracket. It has a lot of different settings, especially settings for like sensitive gums, which I personally have and tend to get even more inflamed because of all the metal in your mouth. So having a very good electric toothbrush. This also comes with an app where you actually can time yourself and make sure that you are covering your whole entire mouth. It'll show you the areas that you may have missed. So this toothbrush has been so helpful for that. I will have this as well as everything else I mentioned linked down below in my shop my in a braces list, so you can find everything that I'm talking about all in one place. Next thing is going to be to get a water flosser or a water pick. This has become my ultimate new favorite thing. I used to really struggle with kind of like gingivitis and bleeding gums, even though I would floss every day, and my dentist recommended that I get a water flosser. So now I do both. I water floss and I normally floss, which I'll get into, but this water flosser is incredible if you're someone that struggles with sensitive gums. And again, now especially as an adult having braces, you really want to make sure you're getting in between all your brackets and into your gums so that nothing that's not supposed to be there stays in there and causes problems for you. So a water flosser, a water pick is an absolute must have. Item number 3 is going to be to get interdental brushes, these little Dentec ones. I take these with me everywhere. This is going to be one of the things that you want on your on-the-go pack to take with you no matter where you go, because if you go to a cafe, if you're meeting a friend, if you go out to dinner, there is 150% chance you're going to get food stuck in between your braces that you are not going to be able to move or try to get out by like gurgling water or even using your tongue. So having these interdental brushes are going to save your life so that you don't feel self-conscious or you're stuck somewhere where you're like, oh my God, I can't talk or I can't smile because I have food stuck in between my teeth. You can just go to the bathroom, take one of these out of your bag or your purse or your jeans or wherever you have them, and then just brush in between the brackets and the metal, and it's gonna pop out any food that you have stuck in there. So these are fabulous for just everyday nighttime use and then taking them with you everywhere that you go. On the topic of flossing, you are also gonna want to get these little like needle threads. The way that these are typically used is that you will take floss and loop it in around like this, and then you take this to put it in between each bracket so that you can get the floss in and then you can floss normally. I will say it is tiresome. It'll take you forever to floss now, but it's just one of those things that you have to do, again, thinking long term that you don't want to have any issues. So really take the time each night. I now have to brush my teeth before I even get tired because I know that my whole oral hygiene is a solid 10 to 15 minutes. So I have to be like wide awake to do it. But these are wonderful for being able to get floss in between your brackets. The way that I use it, instead of using the floss and putting the floss like this and having to get 2 pieces of floss through my teeth, I actually just tie a piece of floss to this and then I use the threader to get it up and then floss that way, and it's super, super easy. Then definitely finding a good toothpaste that you like. I like to use the HelloFresh Anti-Plaque and Whitening Fluoride-Free toothpaste. I really like this one because it is fluoride-free and like SLS-free, so if you struggle with getting any type of like perioral dermatitis, this is safe for that and it's not gonna cause any reaction. And then not really related to the other things, but Dr. Sam's Flawless Lip Tint, it comes tinted and untinted, but it's basically just like an occlusive layer for your lips to really hydrate them. You're gonna have a lot of chapped lips that are going to be like breaking, bleeding. So really the more that you use something like this, yours doesn't have to be tinted. You can also buy the untinted version. I'll also have that linked below. But these are wonderful for also sticking in your jeans, in your bag, in your purse, and just constantly hydrating your lips before they get all cracked and bleeding, because then they're a lot harder to take care of. So these are great. So now for your on-the-go pack, you want to make sure that you have something that you can easily take with you everywhere that you go, whether it's in your car, again, your purse, your bag, your gym bag, anything like that. You want to have a little travel size toothbrush, a little travel size toothpaste, and definitely, if I had to say any other things, I would make sure that you take the interdental brushes with you, because those are the one and only thing that will save you in any circumstance that you're in. Last tip number 5 is going to be mindful of your diet and of hard foods as well as staining foods. So obviously now month 1 of adult braces, and honestly just braces in general going forward, however long your treatment may be, you may need to change some things in your diet, because the last thing that you want is your bracket to be popping off and then having to pay extra to always have your brackets be replaced. So there are certain things that now you're just not going to be able to eat, things like really chewy candy. One of my favorite things, avocado toast. I love crunchy hard toast or really crunchy hard chips, all of that stuff I try to no longer eat, even though I miss them. I know I will enjoy them in 2 years from now when I get my braces off, but I just really don't want to have brackets be popping off. I actually had one of my brackets come off the first week of treatment, which obviously wasn't normal because I actually hadn't had any solid food. So we definitely figured out that it was just a bonding issue and I had to get it glued back on. But definitely you may have to swap out some things in your diet that are really hard, like peanuts, almonds, or any of those really hard foods that could potentially wreak havoc on your brackets. You're just going to want to really avoid, so that you're not having to constantly go to the dentist as well as pay additional for them. Then when it comes to staining foods, for example, as you can see, I have ceramic brackets on the top and then I have the traditional metal brackets on the bottom. The reason why I did this is because I like the look of the ceramic brackets more, but my orthodontist wouldn't do ceramic on the bottom, which actually makes a lot of sense. So if you're also in between, should I get ceramic, should I get metal? Let's talk about that. So ceramic, obviously they're a little bit less noticeable, even though obviously you can notice both of them. But if you get ceramic on the bottom, what happens is that the top ceramic brackets, your top teeth hit your bottom teeth, right? So the thing is that your tooth is going to be hitting the bracket, and the ceramic brackets are actually a lot less sturdy than the metallic brackets. So you can actually either chip your tooth or you could be chipping the ceramic brackets, so you're going to constantly have to get them fixed. So again, it just becomes more of a hassle, and then you're just gonna have to be going in more often and potentially paying more money. So my orthodontist didn't even do ceramic on the bottom. She's like, it makes no sense. We're gonna do metal on the bottom, and then if you want, you can do ceramic on the top, which is what I did end up doing. That being said, ceramic unfortunately stains a lot easier. I got clear or pearl rubber bands on the ceramics, and that also stains a lot easier. I'm actually at the end of week 5, so I'm coming up on the completion of my first month, and I definitely can tell that the rubber bands stain a lot. That being said, I drink a lot of coffee, I drink a lot of tea. I know that I have that type of staining food, so I figured that they were gonna stain, and then I would just get the rubber bands replaced in my next appointment. But then there are other things that you should just completely not have, things like turmeric, curry, which I love curry because curry will literally stain the whole bracket, not just the rubber band. So the moment that you get ceramics or just braces that have really light colors, you're just gonna wanna cut out all those very staining foods. Also, even check when you go to restaurants. I remember I went to a Thai place and I wasn't sure if something had turmeric in it or not, because it may just be something that, again, it's not called a curry or anything like that, but you may ask them like, hey, does this have any like curry powder? Does this have any turmeric powder? And they might be like, yeah. Stay away from that. Just try to avoid staining foods altogether. It'll make your life a lot easier. So those are my 5 tips for your first month if you're getting braces. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, or if you want to share anything about your braces journey so that we can all share our tips and tricks on this braces journey together. If you got any value from this video, don't forget to give that subscribe button a sweet little tap. I'm so grateful to have you here, and I'll see you in the next one.